Welcome to the Political Matrix News. Politics, people, local, regional, national news. Political Matrix News keeps you informed. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the political matrix. Well, we knew there was going to be a verdict. We didn't know what the verdict was going to be, but now we do. And Donald Trump is, as they show on the front page of Drudge, which you will see here momentarily, they say guilty, guilty, guilty a total of 34 times. I got to tell you, I spent 40 years as a newsman. I don't ever remember a 34 count indictment coming back with 34 counts of guilty. Usually it's 34 counts. Hey, we'll find him guilty for 5 or 6. That'll do it. I find this absolutely extraordinary, a very historic day. Jonathan Cole joining us from Navarre, Florida. Greg Fink joining us from where? Joining us from Gainesville, Florida.
Gainesville.
Greg, what did I say? Gettysburg? The world is coming to that point, I'm afraid. He is in Gainesville, and
wow.
Let's go ahead and make sure that I'm up on this, and Greg can rip into it. So have at it.
Yeah.
Go for it. What?
I mean, I think the whole idea here, Trump should fire all his lawyers, first of all. Let's just start out there. First of all, the whole idea that there's even a cover-up or even a hush money or anything is because somebody is going to do something to you if you don't, give them money to hush up. There wouldn't be any paperwork issues, any of these issues if he was not being extorted or, blackmailed or something. There's a causation here. You don't just give somebody $150,000 and all his legal fees, $420,000 to Cohen and $150,000 to Stormy Daniels. If there's not a reason why to give it to them, you're giving it to them to keep them quiet because they already threatened you that they're going to go public if you don't. That's a crime. That's a felony. That's extortion. That's blackmail. And he's a victim of that. And the whole idea that nobody is talking about that, and basically that they're targeting him for the crime, and basically, he does paperwork wrong and covering up for, being charged or being attacked by people. It's just ridiculous.
Okay, now,
I'm telling you, ridiculous. 34 counts. Come on.
Oh, all right, 30. I know it really is. I want to jump in here. There's this pesky little thing. Maybe you've seen it before, and zoom in there. That's the United States Constitution, kids. The Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment, the right to a fair trial. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right of a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusations and to be confronted with the witnesses against him and be allowed to call his own witness. There was a couple of those points there that didn't get handled this time. John, what is your take, sir?
I'm not celebrating. I think it's a sad day. But probably for a different reason. But it's kind of like with what happened with Nixon and Watergate. We're in uncharted territories, and it's never a good thing for this to happen, ever. And whether you point blame or not, it's just. It's not a good day. So CNN celebrating and doing their thing, I don't like that at all. But my thing is regardless of the decision, which I want to say, these jurors were chosen by Trump's attorneys. So it's not like it was a stacked deck against him. All 12 of them were unanimous. They polled them. There was no equivocation. Guilty. So that is the judicial system working.
Right.
As far as should he have been tried? And I'm not going to agree with Greg. I don't think this was blackmail. This was him trying to cover up something he did not want to get out.
Exactly. You don't want to get it out, and you're paying people to do it because they're holding it over your head. They're going to use the information for damaging. In fact, they're going to use that information to influence the election. They're talking about this whole thing is influencing an election. They're going to use that information about him sleeping with her to influence the election as well. And so they're charging him a certain amount of money. It's extortion.
one little thing. All this money crap didn't happen until 2017 after he was already elected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, John, you
Well,
want to finish your
I
point?
don't, I don't think of it in terms of influencing an election.
Well, that's
All
what the
34
charges are
counts.
about.
No, all 34
Greg,
counts are
Greg, hold on.
falsifying documents. All 34 counts are falsifying documents.
Okay,
Has
John,
nothing to do
identify
with
this.
blackmail or buy off or anything. You know,
All right.
to me, this is just the 2024 version of the People versus Al Capone. There's a guy you know's a crook's gotten away with all kinds of stuff, and something innocuous finally sticks. This is it. But I've
Okay.
known Donald Trump has been
It's
a
not gonna
crook
seek
since the
president appeal.
80s. I mean, it's, he's not lily white by any
Well,
stretch.
I know that. I agree.
Yeah, but
I mean,
back to my point is people are discounting David Pecker's testimony and the fact that there was a documented conversation with him and Cohen and Donald Trump, which is the smoking gun, kill this story. Trump gave the blessing. So,
time.
Okay,
No.
here's the real question.
okay.
John, you first. Then Greg, it's the same question to both. John, who was the victim in this crime? Who was defrauded, lost money, whatever? Tell me, who?
Well, in the truest sense, the people. I mean, that's what all crimes are about. When you're talking about, again, every charge was falsification of records. That's usually someone using an illegal method to get themselves an illegal advantage.
Okay,
So it's not about payoffs, about anything else. So
okay, Greg, what's your take? Who was the victim here?
I think definitely Trump was a victim, in my opinion. I mean, it's not a victimless crime. This is definitely a crime that basically made Trump the victim here because he is actually one who is doing this in defense of being attacked and being, basically a crime being caused to him, a crime being enacted upon him.
All right,
So
the payoff. Now, John says set the payoff aside because don't forget Bill Clinton paid off Paula Jones to the tune of $800,000. And I don't know whether that was voluntary or she threatened to tell the National Enquirer, whatever, but she put 800 G's in her pocket and has gone away. I'm still looking here. If Donald Trump falsified his paperwork in his company, which is a privately held company, and everything relatively happened within inside his company. It didn't violate election laws because the chairman of the Federal Election Commission offered to actually said, we're passing on this and offered to testify. And apparently the judge did not allow him to testify, or he didn't approve it on the witness list, whatever. I just find it extraordinary that Alvin Bragg, the district attorney of New York, ran on the campaign of I'm going to go get Donald Trump. And then I find it further amazing that the sentencing is set for the week before the Republican National Convention. Then there are not one, not two, but three other cases of Atlanta, D.C., where that D.C. is January 6th. Atlanta is post-election, and Miami is, oh my God, I can't, the documents case, the FBI going in with guns drawn. And I just find the four of those, as the old saying, it may be Machiavelli that said, one is happenstance, two is coincidence, three is war. What the hell is four?
I mean,
what the hell is four?
Well, let's go back to the Pecker thing about National Geographic. I mean, sorry, not Geographic, but National Enquirer.
Right.
And it's a little slip there. But the whole idea here is that there's a freedom of the press. They can spike any freaking story they want to. Okay.
Yes.
And the newspaper industry, the print industry, is not controlled by the FCC. Now, if it was an FCC broadcast station spiking it, and because they're paid by the public airwaves and they're paid by taxpayer airwaves, that would be different. However, we're talking about newsprint. Newsprint is not controlled by the FCC. It's not controlled by the public airwaves. It's not controlled or influenced by taxpayer dollars. It's basically a rag that is on the grocery cart line right before you check out for impulse buying. Okay, that is what it is. And so they can spike any damn story they want. And the fact that they're actually saying it's a crime to spike a story or that's influencing an election, it's not. Stories get spiked every day. I worked in a lot of newsrooms. Rob's worked in a lot of newsrooms. And so, I mean, journalism is, stories get spiked a lot for numerous reasons. Not for nefarious reasons or political reasons, just for a lot of reasons. And so, I mean, the whole idea of saying that spiking a story, that's a campaign finance violation, and we have a long ways to go back retroactively, whoever
But
the statute of limitations for that
he
is,
wasn't charged
and
with
do
a
it.
campaign finance
No, he
violation.
wasn't.
Well, no,
No.
that's what they're bringing up. Actually, the New York law was talking about
Confusing the
no.
editorialism. of what
One of the
happened in
charges they were
trial.
talking about. No, one of the charges they're talking about, how it's affecting the New York law and the New York, and how basically I was affecting the election by using or like criminal activity to influence the election or something like that.
But
And
you
there was
can't
no,
have criminal
basically they're
activity.
considering this criminal activity.
Yeah, well, the criminal activity took
If
place
if you're doing it
after
because
the
you're being
election.
attacked,
So I don't know.
Exactly, you can't have criminal activity
That's
after
what
the
I'm
election.
saying. This isn't a campaign issue. This
Right, I know.
is strictly this is a
It,
business issue.
yeah, well, you're right, and that's your semantical way of hiding and basically saying it's a campaign issue during the trial,
The issue
but
with
after the
Tucker
trial is over, after you finally got everybody saying
Yeah.
guilty, 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 oh, the campaign had nothing to do with it. Had nothing to do with the campaign. Now he's guilty. But 3 days ago, whenever it did have to fucking do with the campaign, everything else, it was all about the goddamn campaign. And they
But
were
it
talking
still
about
is.
the campaign. They were talking about influencing
The
elections.
point
They were
with
talking about all
still-
of that for the
Greg,
last 6
Greg.
weeks.
Greg, let John talk, and I'll let you wrap it up first.
it's not about the campaign issue. It's about Greg put me so long I lost my thought. But the thing about the Pecker testimony, which turns out even the pundits are
Pecker.
saying was more damaging than Cohen's, was it wasn't they spiked the story, is that he was involved in this kill operation. Very similar.
Who's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
die?
what they called it. But to kill stories like this.
No,
he was in
he's a-
communications with Michael Cohen with money with a fund.
Okay.
Kill situation. And you gotta remember, it ain't just
Frank
Stormy
can kill
Daniels. It
anything.
was the other porn star too.
Right.
So,
I've been working in print for 20 years. You can kill anything in print.
but that wasn't the issue. That's what I'm saying. The issue was this thing that they had going on, the kill stories, as far as get out in front of them. I'll put it that way.
Right. Okay.
PR.
I got that. Thank you, John. Greg, you go
It's a
ahead and
different
wrap it up
public
from your
relations.
hysterical standpoint. Because I've known Greg a long time. I've never seen him lose it like this, especially on video.
It's not hysterical. It's a definition of public relations, for God's sakes. I mean, whenever you have a bad story and everything, you find a way to change the conversation.
That's
it's so
it.
simple. I mean, the whole idea here this is about the election. This is all about election, and it is what they're going after him for. And I just, there's a lot of polls that 6 months ago were saying that if Trump was found guilty, that people would be voting against him. Now there's a lot of recent polls coming out saying that if Trump were found guilty, they'd be voting for him, because people have seen the witch hunt and unraveling of all these cases over the last several months. They're realizing that, basically these Democrats just unleashed a shitload of demons, and they brought a really small knife to a very big gunfight, and it's going to be a very interesting election cycle.
All right, here's my take on it, and to wrap it all up here, and it goes like this. In a bar in New York City, as we do this on Thursday night, there is someone celebrating and high-fiving and getting free drinks because they were on the jury that convicted Trump. And they're going to go home, and they're going to brag about it. They're going to shoot their mouth up, and somebody's going to, if not a fist, they're going to get a chair upside the head. Mark my words on that. Item number 2. I have no doubt that there have already been threats against Alvin Bragg and the judge. Also, number 3, I bet you the appeal, which is filed at the New York State Court of Appeals, which I'm not sure if they just have that or a Supreme Court to go with it. I've watched too many years of Law and Order, I guess. But
New York has a Supreme Court, but then
appeals,
it goes to federal.
Appeals are going to be filed up and down the line immediately. Could be before sunset today, certainly before the close of business tomorrow. If they were a smart legal team, they would have already had the appeals lined up. And as I went through this case day after day after day, I'm like, okay, that's wrong, and that's wrong, and that's wrong. Exactly. And we'll see how it goes. And I think that this very well could be set aside, and the appeal process doesn't really kick in until after sentencing. Now, the question is, does the judge sentence him to house arrest so he has to run his campaign like Joe Biden did from the basement? Or I mean, putting a guy like that in jail is just, to me, oh, if he does, it's humiliating. And I would say that judge's life expectancy could then be checked with an egg timer. And I'm very serious about that. All this,
Oh,
that
I have
movie
no
Civil
doubts.
War that came out a couple of months ago. Oh,
Yeah.
this is about Trump and how dystopian the U.S. has become. If Trump gets reelected, this is what life is going to look like. No, I think that it was a horrible, sloppy, terrible case that has got about 134 different ways to appeal. And
Exactly.
sadly, once you are a convicted felon, you are a convicted felon, whether or not the verdict is set aside. They would have to do another process to exonerate him or expunge it. But yes, he's a convicted felon, just like Bill Clinton was impeached, except nobody remembers that. And Trump was impeached on two things of basic bullshit. Gee, impeached on a phone call. That's what we're going to see in Atlanta. You know, all those 98 charges or whatever, 41 applies to Trump. And of those 41, 38 are First Amendment protected items. But they run up that thing, we call that stacking the charges. And I suspect that we'll see this again and again and again. So, guys, thanks for checking in. We're going to post this up immediately. John, keep your sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
Greg, try to comb your hair. John's covered
Actually,
on
I
that
think my
point.
hair looks. Hey,
Yeah, I'm surprised it's A, not standing up, and B, not on fire. I want to. You know what I really want to see? I want to see how brown noser number one, Matt Gaetz, and brown noser number two, who? Sean Hannity. I want to see how those two guys react to this, because
my whole thing is I'm not even a big Trump guy. I mean, I do like Trump, but I'm not like a Trump follower.
What did Dennis Quaid say the other day? He said he's an asshole, but he's my asshole, and I want to vote for him.
The whole thing is that if this can happen to Trump like this can happen to anybody else. And it's
damn right.
They're lowering the bar very low.
John, go ahead.
Bad.
Breaking news: Matt Gaetz was actually in his district Monday.
Whoa!
It wasn't in D.C.
Evidence.
New York?
Yes. No, he was in Navarre Beach. There's photographic evidence. He was in his district.
Wow. That doesn't happen very often.
But that was Monday, correct? That was Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, yeah.
Oh,
Memorial Day.
Okay,
yes.
well, is there a picture? Is there a picture?
Photographic evidence.
Okay, well, I look forward to that in the South Santa Rosa News. So keep your sense of humor.
It's been there since Tuesday night, so yeah.
I'm sure right now he's in New York with Trump.
Greg, say goodnight.
Good night, guys.
Good night, John. Good night, Greg. Good night for NBC News.
John. Good night, Rob.
Oh, wait a minute. We're Political Matrix. Sorry.
Political Matrix News.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good night, David. Good night, Chet. Wait, we only...